The court is now in session, and again the floor is given to the defense team for Kiel Sampon to put further questions to the witness. And counsel, you may proceed. Call on. Thank you, Mr. President. And Mr. Kalkent, allow me to continue putting questions to you. Before the break, you spoke about your core duties at the workshop. And sometimes you had to go to the rice fields to assist the peasants. You went to work at the work site in February 1976, and it means that you went through 3 rice farming seasons through to 1978. Did you go to assist the peasants with their rice farming annually during the 3 years period? Answer: no, not every year. Sometimes I did not go to help them with their rice farming. We only went there when we did not have many tasks to do at the work site. So sometimes we went down to the rice field for 1 or 2 days to assist those peasants. Question: did you mean you only assisted the peasants 1 or 2 days per year, or per season, or per month? Can you please clarify it? Answer: it's only after the rice seedlings were fully grown, then we would assist the peasants with its transplantation. Question: and for one farming season, how many days did you go down to assist the peasants with their rice farming? Answer: sometimes it was 2 days or 3 days, and when I said 2 or 3 days, I only refer to a morning session per each day. Question: so if I make a calculation for one annual rice farming, you went down to assist the peasants for 3 or 4 days, and each day you spent about half an hour only. Does it mean that annually you only spend 2 to 3 hours assisting those rice farmers? Answer: that is correct. Question: let me now turn to the garage that you worked in. A while ago you described about the size of the garage, but I did not get the full details. Could you please elaborate a little bit further? How many days did it take you to make a complete construction of that garage? Answer: it took us 6 to 7 days to complete the work. Question: so it took you 6 to 7 days, that is amongst the 10 of you, to complete the garage. And how big was the garage, and how many vehicles can packed in that garage? Answer: the size of the garage varied. Some would be 10 meters long, while others could be 12. And about 10 trucks or 10 vehicles could packed. in each garage. However, the number of vehicles parked varied as some vehicles came and others left. Question. You said that you didn't have time to rest as you kept working or building garages. Can you tell the chamber how many garages you constructed in the 10-man unit or group per year? Answer, I cannot tell you that as I cannot recall it. We kept on building those garages and move on building some more. But we didn't count how many we had built. Question now on the various types of heavy machineries, and a while ago you said that you didn't know the specific models of various vehicles, but you were quite familiar with the make and models of heavy machineries. Can you tell us a little bit further on that? And mostly they were tractors and trucks. There were not many rollers. When I refer to trucks, I refer to earth-carrying trucks. Question. And when you build garages to accommodate those vehicles, did you notice that new machineries kept arriving successively while you were still building garages? Answer, yes, more machineries arrived and they were new. There were many of them, but I cannot tell you the figure. Question. Did those new machineries arrive frequently? Can you tell us? Answer. Every 2 to 3 months, a new batch of vehicles arrived, and there would be 30 to 40 or 50 vehicles. But I cannot tell you which month they arrived. And they would be parked in the garage. Question. Now I'd like to move on the issue of security forces. And you mentioned that security forces were provided to guard the Chinese delegation at the Kampong Chnang airfield worksite. And besides the security forces provided to the Chinese delegation, were there other security forces working at the Kampong Chnang airport worksite? And I only observed that there were security forces to provide protection to the Chinese delegation, or if there were, they were elsewhere that I could not see them. Question. Allow me to go back to your garage building work. You mentioned that you built garages around the premises of the airport worksite. And when you relocated from one location to another, did you observe that there were new faces within the security forces for the new sites that you had to build the garage? No, I did not see any new security forces. besides the ones that I mentioned earlier, that is those who provided protection for the Chinese delegation. Question. This morning at around 11 hours 15 minutes, you provided an answer about people being killed for committing moral misconduct, namely sexual intercourse. Can you recall a specific example of a moral misconduct whereby the offenders were smashed or killed? I saw people being taken away accused of committing moral misconduct, but I did not know those people. I only saw them being taken away for that offense. And I did not know where they were taken to after they had been arrested. Question. And can you try to recall some names of those who were arrested, as well as the names of the ones who authorized the arrest? And no, I cannot recall the names of the offenders, nor the names of the ones who authorized the arrest, as I did not know them. Question. Can you try to recall a specific period or an event where such moral misconduct took place during the time that you were working at the Kampong Chhnang airport worksite? For example, which month or which year? And I cannot recall any specific event in relation to this moral misconduct. It had happened several years ago. Question. You had spoken about your core task, that is building garages, about lending your hand to peasants, and about uprooting trees. Did you have time to go freely here or there, or to wander outside the premises of the airport project worksite? For example, to go fishing somewhere else outside the premises or the compound? Answer, no, I did not. I only stayed within the premises of the airport worksite. And if one were to go outside, the person needed to seek authorization first. I only had a little bit of resting time, and then I had to resume the working again. I didn't dare to go anywhere as I was afraid that I would be later to return to work. Question. In your written statement of interview, that is document E3/5273, at page 5 in the Khmer language, and it is in fact page 5 across all the 3 languages, and allow me to give you a quote of your statement. Free translation. I went to visit the office of Levay at the Kampong Chhnang airport worksite, and I saw they pointed guns at the people and arrested them. It happened at around 6 or 7 p.m. During such arrest, Levay was always present. End of quote. Do you still stand by your statement about witnessing such an arrest? Answer: yes, I do. My workplace was about only 100 meters from where it happened. And I saw the arrest, and those people who were to be arrested were called to enter his office. Then they will be arrested and tossed onto the vehicle. Counsel interrupts: yes, we have heard that you saying about that. And my next question is the following. You said your location was near the location of Levay, but you mentioned earlier that you did not stay at one fixed location. So could you please specify the location that you said was close to where it happened? That is near Levay's office? Answer: it was at Tul Ampel when I went to have a bath. I saw what happened. And the area, that place was not far from where I was standing. Question: so you said you were at Tul Ampel when you saw what happened, and where was Tul Ampel located in relation to the overall size of the airport work site? Answer: it was to the southwest of the airport work site. It was just across a road, and that area was where people came to obtain fuel for their vehicles or machineries. Question: you stated in your written record of interview that you went to visit Levay's office, but now you said that you actually went to take a bath. Which one is true? Answer: in fact, I went to have a bath. I went to the west direction, and then I saw what happened. And it was not my intention to go to visit his office. Question: how far was it from the place that you had a bath and the Levay's office? Answer: it was about 100 meters, and it was in later afternoon when I went to take a bath. Question: now I also refer to your document, and it is on page 6 across the 3 languages, and allow me to quote free translation. I saw a convoy of A2 ships came to visit the work site a few times, though I didn't know those people who were on the ships. End of quote. I know that you didn't know who those people were, but at least can you tell the court whether they were foreign visitors or whether they were Cambodians? Answer: it was likely that they were all Cambodians. But I don't think that they were foreign visitors, because the convoy went up and down. Question: are you familiar with the A2 ship Is it a military or a civilian jeep? Answer. The A2 jeeps are military, not civilian. They existed in smaller form, and they were the military jeeps, and people on the jeeps were armed. Question. So you just said people on the jeeps were armed. Were they military officials? Yes, that is correct. Thank you, and Mr. President, I am done, and I'd like to cede the floor to my international colleague. President, thank you, and yes, Council, you may proceed.
Bonjour, Monsieur le témoin.
Good afternoon, Mr. Witness. And my name is Anta Gisse, and I am co-international counsel for Mr. Kyu Sampan. I have some supplementary questions to ask you about your testimony this morning. You said you worked on the construction of garage for vehicles that would use further construction. Insofar as you were part of Division 502 of the Air Force, rather. And I would like to know if there were any hangars on this airfield where there were either airplanes or helicopters or both.
No, I did not see any helicopters. I only saw vehicles.
Outside of those hangars, do you ever see a helicopter either land or take off on the airfield?
No, I did not see any helicopter taking off or landing.
You mentioned that Levey was your superior, and I believe it was during the hearing you mentioned Commander Met. Do you remember any other superiors on the airfield construction site?
No, there were only a few of them, namely Levey and Met. However, Levey was always stationed at the airport worksite.
J'ai cru comprendre, avoir noté en tout cas dans...
I noted down that you mentioned Yang. Did you remember a cadre named Yang?
Jane actually worked at the economic section, that is at the kitchen hall, and he actually came from Kampong Chnang. I only saw him when I went to the kitchen.
The reason I ask the question is because Chan Man, aka Kui, I think you know his revolutionary alias Kui, yesterday mentioned that Yang was the head of the construction site office, and it was that person who had almost all powers on a daily basis. Is that not your recollection?
do not have that knowledge. I do not know that he was in charge of the office there, because I heard and I saw him at Kampong Chnang. And I knew that he was in charge of logistics or transporting food supply and logistics.
Witness Chanman said that it was he who distributed tasks to the various soldiers. Do you know if that person had taken any decisions regarding the transport unit and the distribution of tasks within your unit?
Personally, I was not aware of that, as I rarely saw him at the time. If I knew about it, I would tell you. But I did not know as to his specific position within the site.
Vous avez
In response to questions posed to you this morning by the International Co-Prosecutor and my colleague from the Civil Party section, that Chanman was a driver, and that, as far as you know, he had no other functions. Do you know if he had any specific ties to Commander Mate or other high-ranking officers?
I saw Janmon working and staying close to Levay, and sometimes he was with Mate as well, but later on I did not see him, so I had no idea as whether he had been assigned to work elsewhere. First, I was transferred to work at the worksite, and then I saw Levay also came to supervise the worksite, and I could not say about the assignment of that person, that is Jan Mon.
I'm asking for this clarification because this morning you said that at a given moment Chan Mon apparently fainted, or he lost the knowledge of who was in charge. How did you come to that conclusion?
Chan Mon himself told me about it, that trust had been withdrawn by Levay, as we had tendencies with the previous regime, and that's all how I know.
Et à quel
And when did he speak to you about that?
He spoke to me not long after, before the arrival of the Vietnamese troops. At that time, the Vietnamese troops were advancing toward the area, and we didn't have to do anything else but to pack our belongings, and that's when he told me.
So must I understand that this was at the moment when you escaped, practically, when he spoke to you about losing that trust?
Answer. The trust was withdrawn before the arrival of the Vietnamese troops 3 or 4 months before that time. And I knew that the trust was withdrawn because this individual, Chan Mon, no longer worked with him. And I did not know what happened and why Chan Mon was removed.
What I have a hard time understanding, and I will ask you to clarify this. So, where did you have this discussion? Since if Chamon was no longer working with Levey, but apparently he was still on the work site, I don't understand.
Answer. He was still working at the airfield, and I did not know which squad he was in, and I saw him while I was playing. Perhaps he was driving a vehicle. I could see him as a driver, and we met each other when we played.
I'm asking you all of these questions because yesterday Chun Mon explained to us that apparently he had been arrested on the work site and that he had been sent then to S21, and that apparently Levey and Met had come to save him on a helicopter. So this does not seem to be a sign of distrust. So I would like to know if you're aware of this incident and if you spoke about it when you had this discussion during the escape when the Vietnamese arrived.
Answer. I did not have any discussion. I had never met him before the time that I played that place. I did not know that he was arrested.
Je comprends pas.
I don't understand how you can tell me that you had not met him before the escape when the Vietnamese arrived, because you said previously that you knew that he was a driver. So was it that day that you discovered that he was a driver? You had never known that before? Mr. President,
President, please wait. Mr. Vinay, you may now proceed. International Deputy Co-Prosecutor.
yes, I have the impression that the question leads rather to other questions, in fact, because at certain moments he said that he had never met him before. But he said that before that he had been on the site, so he had been working with Levey. So maybe in the questions you should separate the different moments, otherwise we're going to beat around the bush and we won't be able to move ahead. Here, apparently, I don't know if it's if the co-prosecutor is really objecting, but it is specifically because his answers are rather muddled that I'm trying to get clarification. That's all I'm trying to do. So I am not the one that is making things difficult to understand. On the contrary, I'm trying to clarify things. I think my question was legitimate. I was asking the witness specifically to clarify when he had seen Mr. Cham Man for the first time.
Witness, I could not hear the question.
Monsieur le témoin,
Witness, apparently you have a problem with your audio device. So I'll repeat my question. I did not understand from your previous answers when you met Cham Mun for the first time. When did you see Cham Mun for the first time?
I could not hear. I could hear only the interference in the audio system.
est-ce que vous m'entendez?
Can you hear me now?
Je vois que vous...
I see that you're nodding. Okay, so I'll put the question to you again. I did not understand from your previous answers when you met Cham Mun for the first time. Can you be specific about that, please?
Answer. I met him for the first time when he was a driver. He was coming from somewhere, and he parked the vehicle at my place. I met him only once.
Quand vous dites que
When you tell me that you only met him once, was that the time when you were fleeing the Vietnamese, or was it before?
Answer. 2 or 3 days before I was fleeing, during that time we were getting ready to flee. I was packing my materials, and he was prepared to flee from the place. We had never met each other before, but only that time that we could meet.
Apparently, you said that when you joined the revolution, you were a messenger. Weren't you Levay's messenger?
Answer. Yes, I was his messenger. I had been his messenger since 1974. When I joined the force, a few months later, I became his messenger. And I was his... Before I was transferred to the airport, I was a messenger for Levay.
I'm telling you this because it seems to me that there were only between 4 and 10 messengers back then in the unit in which you were working. And Mr. Cham Mun explained that before 1975, he also had been one of Levay's messengers. So didn't you know him back then?
Answer. I did not know him before then, before 1975, when I was a messenger. I met him only once during the time that we were about to flee. Perhaps he may have been living in a place near my village or near my place.
And if I understood well, the first time he saw you, he confided in you and told you that how Levay had lost trust in him. Is that correct?
Answer. Yes, he confided in me that Levay lost trust. on him, and he told me that he was removed to another place. And I understand from his statement that because the trust was removed and he was transferred elsewhere.
Mais
This will be one of my last questions regarding this, so you can confirm to me that he did not speak to you about a possible arrest or about any kind of rescue operation by helicopter that he was the object of.
Answer: no, he did not tell me about his possible arrest or any rescue operation. I did not know, and I was not told by him at that time. I also do not know when he was arrested. And I have no idea who came to recuse him.
Now, with regard to another point, witness, you spoke about the different tasks that you performed before and during your stay at the Kompong Shnang Airport worksite. And so, can we agree to say that aside from being a messenger and aside from being a soldier who had been assigned to the transport unit, you did not perform any other kind of official tasks within the Khmer Rouge Army?
Answer: no. I only did the work as I told the court already. I was focusing on my work at the garage.
il exacte.
So is it true to say that you had no particular rank?
Answer: no, I did not have any particular rank. And Chan Mon knew about this. I held no rank at all. I was simply a combatant.
Vous avez
You said that you never attended any kind of major meeting at the Kompong Shnang Airport, but however you attended small meetings in your transport unit regarding, in fact, your work. So under these conditions, can we agree to say that you did not have the means to know how the hierarchy would take the decisions and which decisions the hierarchy would take? Is that so?
Answer: yes, that is correct.
tout à l'heure,
Earlier, when you were questioned by my colleague from the Nunchiat team on the number of divisions and the division names, the different units and battalions and squadrons that composed the army, you were not able to answer because apparently you had not been trained with regard to how the army was made up. Is that so?
Answer: yes, that is true. I have no idea.
et
And it's also true that you received no military training and that you did not know what kind of information the higher levels could have in terms of intelligence. Do we agree?
Answer: yes, I agree to what you have just said. I did not do any other tasks besides those I mentioned already.
je voudrais
Now I would like to finish my questions with a few points regarding the working conditions such as you described them in your statement E3/5273, French ERN 00355858, English Khmer 00282943, English 00290502. This is the question that was put to you. What was the workers' diet like at the airport construction site? And your answer was the following. Regarding my group, the food was decent, but regarding the other groups, I don't know. Free translation. So can you confirm this? That you didn't know what the situation was like in the other groups, whereas for you it was decent, without, of course, being wonderful, because you had just come out of a war. So can you confirm this?
Answer. Yes, I recall about food ration.
C'était pas précis.
I don't know if my question was a bit unclear, but can you confirm what you said? That is to say that the food was decent.
Answer. I could recall it.
Do you know, or rather you spoke about garages that were built a few meters away from the airfield. So did you ever build garages to store fuel, or any case warehouses where fuel was stored?
Answer. I only built the garage for parking cars, and as for other garage, they had all built before I was there.
Est-ce que
Did you ever know a soldier by the name of Srumcheng? Let me spell it out. S-R-U-N-C-H-E-Y.
Answer. Yes, I know this individual.
dans une
In a statement E3/5526, he speaks about night work. And I understood from your statement that you said that you would work from 7 to 10 in the evening on a regular basis. And this is what he said, and I'm going to ask you to react, and I will then put questions to you. So this is question answer number 10. This is the question that was put to him. Can you tell us what the working conditions were like, the diet, and the health care, and the days off for the soldiers were like who worked over there? And his answer was, work would start at 6 o'clock in the morning and would last until 11. And then we would have a lunch break. And then we would resume work at 1 o'clock, and we would work until 5 o'clock. And then it was the dinner break. And then there was a daily meeting. After the meeting, the soldiers would rest until dawn. However, there were teams for night work as well. Those who worked during the day did not have to work at night. End of quote, free translation. So, in your unit, was there this kind of different system for the night teams as well as the day teams did not exist, or do you know if this occurred in other units?
Answer. I work at night, and there was an individual working at night. He was working at the warehouse where there was fuel. There were many people working.
Je vais essayer.
I'm going to try to rephrase my question in a bit more specific a way. Sruche, in his statement, makes a distinction between the day teams and the night teams, and he said that they were not the same teams. So my question is, in your unit, were there differences between the night teams and the day teams?
Answer. Actually, workers who worked during the daytime, they had to work at night time as well in my teams. As I stated, during the daytime, I built the garage, and at night time I had to work. And in another team, this individual was a handicapped man, and he was only assigned to fill up the tank of the vehicle. He did not work at night.
Is it true that you did not know what would happen in the other units outside of your transportation unit?
Answer. I do not know.
Vous ne savez pas.
So you did not know what was happening in the other units, right? Maybe there's a problem here with the translation. So I'm asking you, you did not know what was happening in the other units, right?
It is true. I only knew what happened in my group, and for other group, I have no idea.
So we agree that within your unit there were about 10 people. Is that true?
Answer. Yes, there were 10 of us.
You briefly spoke about the protection units for the Chinese delegations. So do you remember, or do you know, if among the guards who were assigned to the delegations, if there was a guard by the name of Kut Ut, in French it's spelled out K-U-O-T, Kut. Maybe in English you say U-T-H, Kut, Kut.
Answer. I do not know this person. I do not know the person by the name Kut.
Pour être sûr qu'il n'y ait pas de...
To be sure that there are no problems, I will ask my colleague Kong Samon to pronounce the name correctly.
Counsel, thank you. The name is Ut. Witness, if it is Ut, I know, but I do not know the person by the name Kut.
And did you meet this person often?
Answer. No. I never met him, but I heard there was a person by the name Ut.
Et qui travaillait.
And he worked in the protection or guard unit. Is that correct?
Answer, yes, he worked in the guard or protection unit. I have never met him.
Est-ce que
And do you remember if during the period when you were working on the airfield work site, if at any given moment soldiers were sent to fight the Vietnamese?
Answer, I do not know about this. I do not know which soldier was sent to fight against the Vietnamese. I have no idea. And when Vietnam came into the country, I realized that some were sent to fight the Vietnamese, and I did not know before that.
est-ce que
And did you ever know a soldier by the name of Kong Kim? K-O-N-G, then K-I-M.
Answer, I do not know the person by the name Kong Kim. I do not know where he is living and where he was at that time.
je voudrais vous
I would like to quote part of his statement to the OCIJ investigators, and then I would ask you a question. It's a document E3 3959 in French 0048 6100. Khmer 00270168 and 69, and in English 00278686. I will start with a preceding question. I will quote two questions at the same URN. Question: when did Angkar send you to fight the Vietnamese? I would just add that Kong Kim worked on the airfield site for a few months, and this is from where he was sent to fight the Vietnamese. And so, question: when did Angkar send you to fight the Vietnamese? Answer: in approximately early 1977, we were ready to fight the Vietnamese. I went via National Highway 5 and then Kampong Cham. Question: before you fought the Vietnamese, did Angkar tell you about rules or why you had to fight the Vietnamese? Answer: initially there was a meeting at the Kampong Cham airfield to tell us that the Vietnamese had killed many Cambodians, which made us feel pain. They said the Vietnamese had invaded and reached the vicinity of the Mekong River and had burned houses and burned rice. At that time, I was named head of section, etc., etc. And so my question is the following. Did you hear at any point of a meeting held by the high-ranking officers of the Kampong Cham airfield, during which the conflict with Vietnam was discussed?
Answer: I did not hear about such discussion, namely the armed conflicts, and I was not in the meeting. I was working in the airfield, and during the time that I was fleeing, I realized that there was armed conflict. Before that, I had no idea about the armed conflict.
Je vous remercie.
Thank you very much, and Mr. President, I am done with my examination.
បាទអរគុណ
President, thank you. The hearing today comes to an end, and the hearing is adjourned now, and we will resume it tomorrow on the Friday, 12 June 2015, starting at 1:30 p.m. And tomorrow the chamber will hear 2 TCW 932. Please be informed. The chamber would like to express its sincere thanks to Mr. Cao Kin. Thank you for your valuable presence before the chamber. Your testimony will contribute to the truth, and your testimony, the hearing of your testimony comes to an end now. You may be accused. You may return to your residence or to any place you want. I wish you safe trip home and all the best. Court officer, please work with vessels to send Mr. Cao Kin back to his residence or the place or to any other place he wants. Security personnel are instructed to bring the two accused, Kilsampon and Nuon Chia, back to the detention facility of the ECCC, and please have them returned tomorrow before 1:30 p.m. The court is now adjourned.